Hello everybody, welcome to the Michael Finkley Show. I'm Michael Finkley. Today is Monday, July 20th, 2020. Y'all, it's a brand new week of expectation. That's what I'm declaring for myself this week. Positivity, all this awesomeness that's going to happen, things that's owed to me, due to me. I'm expecting it all. Join me on this journey. If you have not already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel at The Michael Finkley Show. There you can ring that bell for notifications and you'll receive emails from us when we upload new content. Y'all, I wanted to take a little time out to talk about, before I get to the show, I want to take a little time out to talk about schooling. It's all in the news, right? The president's talking about it. Betsy DeVos is talking about it. All the different states are talking about it as well. And some people are there are three ways. There are for schools opening, there are for not schools opening, and they're looking in the middle saying, we don't know what we're going to do yet. And we can see schools opening early as next month, August. So what are your thoughts? Should schools open for this academic year? Should it be online? Should it be a hybrid component? Should students go in a few days a week? What do you think? Leave comments below, and y'all, let's just have a conversation in the comment section down there, okay? So y'all, today's show, I always do this. Today's show is all about laughter. It's a lot happening in the world. Coronavirus, all this turmoil in the world. So just take a few minutes just to chill out and relax and just laugh. The Bible says it's just like medicine, right? So just laugh. We have two comedians that will help you along the way. All right, Mr. Justin Brown and Mr. DaWayne Nettles. They are comedians in their own right. And y'all, they are here to bring that pleasure to your life as you watch the Michael Finkley Show this Monday. All right, so when we return, we will hear from Mr. Justin Brown and Mr. DaWayne Nettles. Okay, we'll be right back. Next, we chat with comedians Justin Brown and DaWayne Nettles. Don't you go away. We'll be right back. On the next Michael Finkley, Wednesday, we have Mr. Anthony H. Brown with us as he talks about his weight loss, his business, and the great work he does with the UNCF and with HBCUs. Don't you dare miss the next Michael Finkley. Y'all get ready to laugh because we have two comedians here, their own right, and y'all, I'm just ready to just get this started. So I want you all to just introduce yourselves, tell us what you do, and we'll just take it from there. Let's start with DaWayne.
All right, so I'm DaWayne Nettles, aka Mr. Nettles. I'm a local comedian in Columbia, South Carolina. Also by day, I work for the University of South Carolina, helping first generation students prepare for college. So trying to bridge the professional gap and the comedic gap has been pretty interesting. I've been doing stand-up since about February. I've been writing probably about a year and a half, but it's been going pretty well so far.
Awesome. Justin.
So guys, my name is Justin Brown, also known as the Long Island Lip. I mean, that's self-proclaimed. I'm an actor, comedian, podcast host from New York. Long Island, New York specifically. I've been in the game for about a good 10 years now. I've done Upright Citizens Brigade. I have a lot of YouTube content out there. But most recently, a lot of people know me from my podcast, Medium Popcorn. We kind of review new and old movies with very much a comedy swing to it. My co-host name is Brandon Collins. We've been rocking it out for a good 5 years now.
That's what's up. Right. Awesome. And Justin, tell us about your path in becoming a comedian. What did that look like?
Oh, man. To tell you the truth, I went to college for business administration and marketing at Iona College in New Rochelle, New York. Mm-hmm. And I came out right as the recession started, 2007. And, there were no jobs. So I just started doing random things over Craigslist, ended up meeting some people and found myself on a sketch team. And one day somebody, one of our stand-ups who, did stand-up in between our sketches didn't show up. We had 7 errant minutes. And I said, hey, I'll take it. And I started doing stand-up and, kind of just started flowing from there. And then started doing a lot of comedic acting and things like that.
Gotcha. All right. What about you, DaWayne?
My parents were pretty non-traditional. So I was always the person in my family who everybody said was funny. A lot of coworkers said I was funny, and I'd never taken it serious, just like telling jokes around the office and just saying stuff like, DaWayne, you got like great comedic timing, like you should really try it. So I started writing, like I said, about a year and a half ago. And then I started going to the local open mics in Columbia and just got a feel for the scene. And then I saw there was an ad for a class. So I actually got into a comedy class. And a part of the class was we had a graduation show. So you had to perform as a part of the graduation show. So really, initially in my head, I was like, all right, I'm using material I've been writing in class. And I'm just performing stuff I wrote. But turns out I ended up writing about 95% of my set like in class, like for the show. So really polished the first 5 minutes. Performed. My teacher really wanted me to perform before I did a graduation show. So went out randomly one night after class, did an open mic. Like show went great. Like, and the crazy thing about it, like when I got there was a professional comedian on set, like right before me. So I was like, oh my God, like my first night, and I got a professional comedian performing right in front of me.
Like, oh my gosh.
So like just got a great ovation. And really that gave me the confidence. And then once I did the graduation show went great. And really just been hitting it strong since then. COVID kind of hit like right after everything got popping off. So really now just trying to stay in the creative space. Launched a podcast with some of my college friends recently. That's been going well. Hip hop, Laughs and Hip Hop podcast. We're on episode 5 shooting this week. Everything's been going great so far. Just keeping that platform going, and just got back into the open mic space probably about 3 weeks ago. So shows just opened back up, so it's going good.
More power to you, brother. More power to you.
What about you, Justin? How did it start for you?
Well, right now, there are no open mics or anything in New York. We're still kind of, the entertainment business is pretty much shut down for the time being. I actually took about a good, maybe like 2 years off because, I had a baby. So, I had, just fatherhood, all that going on. So I had to take my time to get my life together. And then I actually started going back in February, and then COVID hit. And so, I've kind of just been sitting on the shelf. But, luckily, with the podcast and everything, I have an opportunity to still keep those creative juices going. I've been doing, some kind of film COVID stuff for, online mediums, so that's been keeping me afloat as well.
Gotcha. Now, either one of you can answer this question, or both of you. Can you learn comedy? Can someone actually learn comedy, or is it something that you're kind of born with?
I'll tackle it. I think for me, like I've always been a fan of comedy first. So I always said to myself, if I ever pursued it, my appreciation for it is so high. I wouldn't want to do it if I couldn't like do it justice. But really, right, taking in the scene and seeing different people's style, and like just actually doing it myself, like I think there's the innate ability in everybody to kind of pull like what you're good at and put it on stage if you want it to. I mean, I think it's naturally easier if you have just like those things inbred in you. Like I'm just a public speaker, so like that part was natural. But like the comedic timing, a lot of stuff I've literally learned, like drawing attention to yourself on stage. So it's a lot of technical stuff that I never thought about before I got on the stage until I got into the class. So honestly, I really think anybody could do it if they really wanted to and wanted to pursue it.
See, I kind of agree, because like comedy, acting, and things like that, it's one of those things where someone can walk off the street and do it and be kind of good at it, but it does take work to get you to the next level. And there's certain things, like there's formulas that help you kind of work out some of your material so where it delivers the best way possible, and the timing and such. So it is a combination of both things.
Right.
Gotcha. Makes sense. Do you remember your first joke you told?
I remember mine. I know the first. Well, I don't know the first joke I told in front of a crowd. And then I kind of remember, I don't know if I remember the first joke I ever told just in general, but the first joke I told in front of a crowd, because I remember I was kind of hesitant about even submitting the joke. Part of our class, we would submit our jokes, and then we perform them in class the next week. So I was just sitting around. I just got done watching this documentary called Blackfish. And I was thinking to myself, like, this documentary would be real different if it was called Black Man. So I wrote this joke about it, and I told it in class, like it hit, like it was great. I think that's my biggest thing too. I just trying to make it different, like just like random connections you wouldn't think about, in general, and it kind of takes you left, and the people like just the irony of it is like this guy's stupid.
Well, I mean, my first stand-up set was, kind of just impromptu. So like, I can't even remember what I said up there. I just knew it went well enough to the point where I said, I want to do this again. But I think the first joke I told on stage was, well, I've always been mistaken for other random bald-headed black dudes. Like all my entire life, so like I kind of came up with says like, I know what you guys are thinking. It's like, like, no, I'm not that other bald-headed black guy you've seen on TV. I may look like him. I can't remember the exact joke, but it was something in that vein. And then I told a story about how I was mistaken for Darius Rucker from Hootie and the Blowfish. And then somebody said that I look like Seal. So, and just my reaction to being say it looked like Seal. So yeah, it was. I think that was definitely my first joke that I opened up with.
Wow, that is crazy. Talk about your influences. What made you kind of want to go in this thing, into this arena, and the persons that kind of influenced that for you, DaWayne?
For me, I have a list actually. So. There's guys I'm fans of, and then there's guys who I look at more like my style per se. So like my 5 is like the first comedy special I remember watching was like Eddie Murphy Raw. So I remember watching Eddie Murphy. I always grew up being a big Chris Rock fan. Now as far as my style goes, I'm more like Deion Cole. The dryness of his humor is funny to me. And then I like D.L. Hughley, like just his political take on it. And then, like in my opinion, like Dave Chappelle is just the greatest I've seen do it, and just like his social commentary, to me, it's just genius. So I think those are my 5 guys. But I know for me, just growing up in the South, there's just my comedy has a lot of racial overtones, but it's not a super abrasive approach. It's a more or less, I'm gonna put it out there, and I'm just put a different spin on it, just for you to kind of look at it and take a different perspective from it. And really, I got my start in mostly white venues. So I always wanted to have a uniquely African-American approach, but I wanted my audience not to influence necessarily what I say. So I kind of want to go in and kind of, tell my story. Like, what was it like? Just bringing up things like things you don't think about, just putting on the table. Cause really, and also being an educator, like I feel like it's my job. Like, I just want you to think about this when you leave here. I'm not telling you how to think about it. I'm not telling you which way to go about it. I just want you to leave here and think about what I said and try to.
You want to drop those bombs on them. You got to drop those bombs. Some bombs right here.
Just put a funny twist on it to make you like, okay, I see where you're going with this.
Okay. Cool, Justin.
For me, like when I was growing up, I mean, the 2 things I loved Eddie Murphy and I loved the Ninja Turtles. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to be a comedian or I wanted to be a Ninja Turtle. You know what I'm saying? So like. My early influences, Eddie Murphy, Richard Pryor, loved Bernie Mac because I love like the strength and just not giving any when he hit the stage. There was just a rawness about him. So and like Paul Mooney as well. I mean, because I remember when I first started, I would just sit on a stool and just talk to people. But then like as I've grown older, things have changed a little bit. So like I feel, especially now after having a child, I feel there's a little bit more Bill Burr coming out of me recently. Because like it's just calling out the randomness and the things I think that are ridiculous about the world, things that bother me, and which it's. Comedy is a little bit almost therapeutic now, more than it was just me going up and putting up a show as putting this this random character that I created, that super heightened version of myself. I'm putting like more of my truth self into my act now.
Okay. Cool. Wow. And you all listed some people I didn't know, so I'm gonna have to write these things down later and look up these people because I don't know who you're talking about. Some of them I know. Thank you for that, Bill. Thank you for that. So, Justin, you've been doing this for over a decade, almost a decade, right? And
probably actually over a decade now.
Over a decade?
Yeah.
And so what are some of the successes you've seen thus far within your career in acting and being a comedian?
Well, I mean, I mean, define success, right?
Right, and that's in your own right.
Exactly. I mean, because as far as I'm concerned, somebody is like, oh, you're successful. I'll be like, man, I haven't done anything yet. Mm-hmm. But you talk to other people, it was like, I've performed at one of the main comedy venues in New York, the Upright Citizens Brigade. It's now gone. For years, I was on a house team there. I performed on stage with Amy Poehler, and I was actually called in to interview audition actually for Star Wars for John Boyega's role, and wow. Things like that. So like I've had those, hit that the peaks of it, but also I've seen the lower end of the rung mm-hmm. where I've done some mm-hmm. things. I'm just like, I can't tell anybody about this. I'm trying to bury it. But I think, knowing both ends, kind of keeps you nice and humble. So like that, and that's what I say. It's just like, I don't feel like I've done much, because like I don't know if I'm ever going to really be satisfied. It's just, but it's also just what I love doing. And that's hence why I'm still here doing it, 12 years later almost.
And, that makes a difference. I was watching something earlier with Bernie Mac and Oprah Winfrey. And Bernie Mac said that, don't chase the money, allow the money to chase you. And because he was true to his craft, that's how he became so successful in his right.
Yeah.
Right. He didn't chase out there anything. He loved what he did.
Right.
You, DaWayne, what are some of your goals when it comes down to being a comedian in this arena?
For me, initially, I just got into it just to really give it a shot. Mm-hmm. And I would say after kind of getting in class and talking, like our teacher was a professional comic. She was like, no, you're good at it. So that was the first time I kind of took it, like, I can really take this and pursue it from a professional standpoint. Mm-hmm. So really just taking it day by day, enjoying the small successes, seeing where it goes, and just right now, I'm just really working on my craft, like, and working on my writing, seeing what other avenues I could go with it, launching the podcast, something me and my friends been talking about for a long time, finally got off the ground. And really for the small successes, only being in it again since February, and I was nominated for Best Local Comic in Columbia. So I was like somebody literally called me, like somebody who was in my class was like, she's like, oh my God, DaWayne, you're nominated for Best Local Comic. I like, shut up, you're lying. Like there's nothing, like, no way. And then I saw it, I'm like, man, it's like, so that, I think that was the moment I kind of like, you know what, you could really make something out of this.
A quick thing is like, and like DaWayne, I love the energy. Mm-hmm. But I always tell people, especially when you're new, is like, mm-hmm. like when I came in hot. I came in hot, and I started running. And mm-hmm. I think one of the things that I saw myself, I see now about myself when I was a young comic, was because I came in so hot, I was just like, yo, this is easy for me. I don't have to work as hard as everybody else, but the work ethic and working through that, and you sitting there and, being on quarantine and working and doing everything you're doing now, that's where the success comes from. Because I think a lot of times, whether you're a comedian, an athlete, or anything, if you have those natural abilities, we lean on our natural abilities, and then we look past, doing the work that everybody else has to. And if you have a natural ability, work just as hard as those people who don't have those natural abilities, and then you're just gonna level up on a different wavelength.
Definitely.
I love this. Well, stuff that's going on here. We'll be right back.
Coming up, get ready to laugh. They share their funniest jokes. We'll be right back. The Finkley Experience is an education and consulting firm that specializes in first-generation education. We assist parents and their students with the college process. We train school administrators, and we also partner with colleges and universities to assist with their first-generation population. To learn more about our consulting firm and to purchase our book and workbook, please visit our website at thefinkleyexperience.com.
Hello everybody, welcome back. Y'all, we are still chatting with comedians Justin Brown and DaWayne Nettles. Now, we know that COVID-19 is happening and a lot of things have happened. It's affected us all. But sometimes we just need a good laugh. Even the Bible states that the heart, it's good for the heart. It's just like medicine. Laughter is good for the soul. So, DaWayne, give me a little something for the people to kind of get their ha 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 going,
Let's see, what should I dig into? Trying to think what I want to. I'll go with one of my jokes I do about. I'm really big into sports, and one thing I mentioned, like I like to talk about. Most of my jokes have like a racial overtone. So I was sitting around, this is around Super Bowl time when I did my first show. So I performed this joke in my show, and I was like, and matter of fact, this might be the first joke I actually wrote before I even got to the class. Got to my coworkers. So I was like, so I normally start by asking any football fans in the house. Typically, somebody raises their hand normally.
Of course.
Then I asked about the Super Bowl. I'm like, yo, does anybody knows what happens to the gear for the losing team at the end of the Super Bowl? So typically, somebody either knows or somebody doesn't. So either way, I just lead into it after that. So you think about the Super Bowl, like there's two teams. Somebody has to win, somebody has to lose. But there's teams for both shirts. There's shirts for both teams. So clearly, there's shirts for the losing team that says Super Bowl champions, right? So I did some research and I found out that the shirts for the losing team get sent off to third world countries, like for donations.
Yep.
So I thought to myself one day, I said, you know what? Growing up in a third world country must be a lot like growing up in the South. And people normally sit around and look around like, well, like, what do you mean? Not like, because everywhere you look, you see all this memorabilia for the losing team. So he's like 1865 Civil War champions, the Confederates. And then I lean into it with this. Like, what's even more ironic about this joke is that most of those teams in the Super Bowl, they also lost to the Patriots.
Yeah, right.
That's crazy.
That's a way to bring it around. That is a way to bring it around.
That's good.
That's one of my go-tos. So that joke either it lands and everybody just laughs like hard, or it's like a sucker punch. The crowd's like, oh, like that.
Yeah,
like that.
it's
oh, like you'll get it later. You'll get it later. Trust me.
Yeah, you're gonna catch them on the ride home with that.
Right.
Okay, may catch them on the ride home, but they're gonna get them eventually.
Like, what you laughing at? I just got the joke.
I got it.
That's good. That's good. Justin.
Well, I mean, once again, me having a son, my son's 17 months old now. So like everything has changed, and being, a dad during COVID, Jesus, it's just something different. And I realized just like the other day, something I've been working on is the fact is like, my time in the bathroom, dropping that number 2, dropping that deuce has been extended, And I started to think about it. It's like, why am I spending so much time in the bathroom? Because my bathroom is like a fortress of solitude. It's the only time that I have my time away from everybody else. And now, mind you, half the time I don't even have to go to the bathroom. I fake it. I'm sitting in there for a half an hour, just sitting on the toilet, just watching videos, reading articles. And here's my son banging on the door. And then, God forbid, I open the door. Now he's standing there staring at me, breaking my concentration. Sometimes I got to actually squeeze something out and just sit there and let the smell linger for a while, just to give them some evidence that I was actually using the bathroom in here. Like, this is what COVID and having kids do to you. You're sitting on the toilet faking it for a good half an hour just so you can have your alone time.
Oh my God. I can't.
See, now it's funny because like a lot of people, they're like, oh, that's crazy. And they're like, have some kids. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about real quick.
And the people that have kids like, yeah, you're right.
My wife bangs on the door. It's like, Justin, what are you doing in there? It's like, baby, my stomach's all messed up right now. It's been this way for the last 3 months. I know. What am I eating?
I can't. That's good. Yay. Oh, that's good. That's good. Oh man, you lose my train of thought. Good Lord. So each of you have your own unique style. Y'all should do a show together, by the way. I'm just saying. Each of you have your own unique style, and you bring that style to your different podcasts. And so, DaWayne, can you talk about your podcast? You're just beginning. You have persons that you work with. What is the purpose behind it? What do you talk about?
All right, so our podcast, Last in Hip Hop, it's kind of the birth child of years of conversations me and my homeboys have been having like since undergrad. So when we were undergrad, we had most of us were education majors, so we had this at Benedict there was this lab like downstairs in what we call BC Cares, and like the education major we had a key to it, so we would just go in there, we would just like bogart the lab for hours. And like we would literally like they would lock it up at night. We would leave, come back in through the back door. We had a key, so we'd go back in and we'd just stay in there all night, just like rapping about music and life and just everything. So we always wanted to bring that same essence and put it on some type of platform. So we launched the podcast, and really the name behind it, Last on Hip Hop, is a play off Love and Hip Hop. But I'm actually a comedian now. My former college roommate, he's a rapper in Atlanta. So we're just gonna merge both worlds and just kind of have these conversations like online. And really, we just have just bringing our passions. So we're both passionate about hip hop. We're both passionate about comedy, but just like hitting on like subjects we talk about every day, like life, the current state of America. Just bringing those general conversations we have all the time, and just with a more lighthearted and a tone where anybody could jump into conversation and feel comfortable and share their ideas. We got a few recurrent segments we do. We always do a "What are you wearing?" Because fashion is a big thing. We always
I saw that. I was watching it the other day and I saw that.
We do a "What are you wearing?" segment in the beginning to show what we're wearing that day. We do my top five where we list the top five and we debate our top fives every episode. And then I think one of the highlights of my show is we do a false narrative. So we dispel a common truth either in our community or somewhere else, and we just debate the idea of it. Like the first one we did, I know my man's from New York, so he might get on me for this.
Okay.
So our first false narrative, I've always been from the stance like I didn't think Reasonable Doubt was that great of an album.
Okay.
So the first false narrative was me talking about why I didn't think this album was as good as Jay-Z's other albums. And it just starts this conversation. It really just starts a conversation offline afterwards. People like, the way you wilding, y'all like your show, but you wilding about
nobody talks about Jay-Z. How dare you?
So I've been getting on New York like for at least 3 episodes. So like last episode I had to bring in a prop to show that I'm on your side. So I brought my Timbs. To show that I'm on New York side. Like I'm not in New York.
You bring in some butters, and now we can talk. We can talk now. Them butters come up. We know we can talk now. Okay.
Oh man, that's crazy. Oh man, Justin.
So
about that poop joke you just. But medium popcorn. And your theme song is off the chain, by the way.
Oh, thank you. That so medium popcorn. It was actually so my co-host Brandon Collins. He actually had the podcast on his own, at first. So it was like his podcast, and he was just sitting there talking about movies by himself. And it's kind of like he felt like he was just screaming into the void. And then he asked me to come on for an episode to review the movie The Room. I don't know if you ever saw it, but it's terrible. It's like critically panned as one of the worst movies, but it's so bad that people think it's good. You know what I'm saying? Because like they do like midnight showings of it, and they throw spoons at the screen. It's crazy. Yeah, it's really weird. You could find all these random scenes online. But we kind of just ripped this movie apart, and then it just became just like, yo, we should just do this podcast together because I've been talking about creating my own podcast. So we started, and then the theme song came along. We were just sitting in the studio one day, so we remixed Easy Lover by Philip Bailey and Phil Collins into something absolutely ridiculous. And then like that kind of started to gain the traction. But so we review new and old movies. Typically, we'll do like new movie, old movie. Kind of switch it up. I mean, right now we're doing a lot of old movies because there's no new releases. But yeah, I mean, we're just kind of just reviewing movies, but kind of with a comedy swing because my co-host, he's a comedian. Like, I've known this guy for a good, I think 10, 12 years now, almost like since the beginning I was doing comedy. And, we just have two buddies just sitting there talking mess. And, we throw a lot of personal anecdotes in there because, the movie, we're reviewing a movie, but the movie will actually kind of bridge us into personal things in our lives and things like that. So if you listen to our podcast long enough, you're going to know exactly who I am. I mean, you're going to know Brandon's kinks because Brandon's a crazy dude and all sorts of things. So it's like kind of, over the years, we've kind of built like a nice little community, with our Patreon and things like that. We're doing like these live movie watch parties where then we review the movie afterwards with everyone. And it's really one of those things. Like, if I didn't have that during COVID, I'd really be going crazy right now, but yeah, so like, it's really been a thing that's been keeping me afloat, especially when, those times like like those 2 years where I wasn't doing stand up and I kind of pulled back on a little bit of the acting because, making sure my family was secure. That's, doing that really helped me because even the community for us, like they, somebody sent me, gifts from our baby registry and things like that. And like, that community is like, I love those people that, we do the show for that are with us and we roll hard with them. And and actually right now, especially the state of the world and everything, we're kind of, putting a lot of light on like Black artists, so like Black film directors, doing Black movies that never get any burn, so like we're kind of just, even if the movie's, not good, just putting it out there because, there are things out there that we're able to put a light on and, that nostalgia piece that, for Black people, we don't get, in this country because a lot of our stuff is deemed as like, it's like a subculture. And, so we're trying to make that subculture just culture for now on.
Okay, gotcha. And you mentioned the state of the world. I love to end all my shows on a positive side. And I always ask my guests to give us words of encouragement. So, Justin, can you give the viewers that are watching the reasons why laughter is so important right now in the state of the world?
Boy, so many reasons. Well, I guess with so much negativity going on out there right now, be it COVID, be it, the protests, be it just political. I mean, laughter is, in a sense, the only thing that holds us all together throughout this. It helps us get through the hard times, the good times. It is like that glue that kind of bonds life as a whole. So like being, whether you're out there protesting or not, you need to find the comedy in life because once you find because if you can find a comedy in everything, you can survive anything. And I mean, that's just the way I kind of look at life because if it wasn't for comedy, I don't know if I'd be here right now.
Wow. That's a lot. That's good. DaWayne, final thoughts.
Just to piggyback what my man said, I'm a firm believer in everything's funny if you frame it right. And I've met a lot of people in the world, but I've yet to meet somebody who didn't like to laugh. So I think it's the thing that binds us. It's the one thing we all have in common. And I think laughter is important, especially in times like these. Like some days you gotta laugh and keep from crying. Sometimes that's what I do.
That's true.
And look, and sometimes you laugh till you cry. So
good way.
That's a good laugh. A hearty laugh. It's a hearty laugh.
They say laughter is the best medicine, and my insurance ain't too great. So I'm gonna roll with it.
Oh man.
Write that one down. Write that one down, my
Right.
Laughter ain't got no copay.
You know?
No copay. So good.
Thank God. DaWayne, DaWayne, how can they find you on social media?
You can find me everywhere at Mr. Nettles, at MisterNettles. That's Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can find our podcast at Laughs and Hip Hop on Instagram. But we're growing the page. We're growing our following. Just follow us, engage in the conversation, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Awesome. What about you, Justin?
Guys, you can follow me at JBrownDidIt on Twitter and Instagram. You can follow the show, Medium P Podcast, Twitter and Instagram. We also have a Patreon, patreon.com/Medium Popcorn. And we got swag, y'all. We got swag.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, we have amazing artist, Mr. James P, who does some amazing artwork for us. And we're just like really grateful because we dropped this really dope kind of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles shirt, and he put his foot in it. He really put his foot in it. Like that's, I had to buy a few of those shirts. I'm really proud of it. Like I came up with the idea, but like the way he executed it, yeah. Support Black artists, y'all. Support Black artists.
That's it. Gotta stick together. Yes, sir. I thank you so much, Justin, DaWayne, for being on today. And I hope that someone out there truly can say, laughter is good for the soul. Thank y'all.
Later, y'all.
On the next Michael Finkley, Wednesday, we have Mr. Anthony H. Brown with us as he talks about his weight loss, his business, and the great work he does with UNCF and with HBCUs. Don't you dare miss the next Michael Finkley.
Hello, welcome back. Did you have fun watching this show? I had fun putting it on. It was so much fun. Justin, DaWayne, thank you so much for being on, and please follow them on their social media outlets. Follow their podcast as well. DaWayne has Laugh and Hip Hop, and Justin has Medium Popcorn. Please follow them on their social media outlets, and of course their platforms as podcasts as well. Please. All right, on the next Michael Finkley, we have Wednesday. We actually have 3 shows this week. We're excited about it. We have Mr. Anthony Brown with us, and we get to talk with him about his incredible weight loss, his business, and he does incredible work with UNCF, which is United Negro College Fund, and HBCUs, which are historical Black colleges and universities. It's a show you don't want to miss. All right. Again, if you have not subscribed to us, please go to our website, our YouTube channel, and hit that subscribe button and ring that bell for notifications, and you will receive information about our YouTube channel when we upload new content. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you Wednesday. Have a good one.